What an absolutely beautiful, relaxing scene. Hang on a minute, that's a mountaintop. In a heat wave? Okay then, my friends, let's go. Hello there, folks. I'm Dan Brown from Sort of Interesting, and today me and my good friend Stu are heading up into the hills. So I took that big 55-litre bag that you just saw, crammed it with as much liquid as I could carry, whilst also finding space for my tent and camping mat and odds and ends. And all in all, I think it came to just over 14 kilograms, so not the lightest of backpacks. And you can imagine that carrying that up a near consistent incline during 30 plus degree temperatures all the way wasn't the most comfortable walk up a hill I've had. But even so, walking through these sort of environments before you then sort of rose a little bit higher up the hillside and started having the wide open panoramas, absolutely beautiful. So I thought this would be a sensible place to pour a bit of water over my head. Of course, I totally missed and flicked it all straight down my back. Whoa! That was just shock down my back. Anyway, let's talk a little bit more about the walk itself. So it was just over 5 miles, so not a huge walk by any stretch of the imagination compared to some of the recent ones we've been doing. And it was from the little village of Glenduffer. I'll put these spellings on the screen to counteract my abysmal pronunciation. So straight up the hill from Glenduffer to Molferner mountaintop. And there's not loads of footage from this because it was so extremely hard going and sweaty, and under this baking sun you didn't want to really hang around if you could avoid it. So we were pretty confident in our ability to take this as a sensible walk and not overdo it and get heat stroke and what have you, because we were well prepared to take our time. And when you're in these sort of environments, you can imagine the fact that we ended up averaging barely over a mile per hour and taking 4 hours to do a 5-mile trip. Because, again, just being sensible, no need to rush it, drinking huge amounts of water along the way. We actually got up and felt relatively fresh after a few minutes of just sitting around enjoying the scenery. And you can imagine once the tents went up and the sun started to come down, I mean, this is as restorative and relaxing and peaceful an environment as you can get. And so we're just going to see a few clips here of the sun as it slowly crept lower and lower, because obviously one of the great joys of the sunset is these phases of colour that it passes through, and then on the opposite side of the sky you have the pastel colours that are rising up from the horizon as the sun goes down. It's just absolutely incredible. And I think that one of the incredible things that I certainly was not expecting was just how quiet it was up here. Just not even birds or wildlife, just absolute silence apart from the wind rustling through the heather and the tents. You can see there some of those pastel colours I was talking about. I mean, look at that, what a place to be. Absolute honour to be here. And of course then we got to watch the moonrise. So my friends, it's just gone 11 o'clock at night and we've decided to settle down to sleep in our little tents. And I just cannot express how fantastic today has been. I mean, a little bit warm, don't get me wrong. Really hard going in the extreme heat, and obviously with bags filled with bottles of water and all the camping stuff. But my goodness me, absolutely beautiful views from the top. And of course, in this unbelievable weather we've got, there's very little haze around, so the views from the top here over the other mountain ranges have just been absolutely fantastic. And then seeing the sunset so perfectly, the moonrise so perfectly, and then we've literally just took our camping mats and pillows out, had them just outside, just looking up at the sky, talking absolute nonsense, watching shooting stars go by. I mean, it's stuff that I haven't done for years and years, and my goodness me, I have missed it. Absolute, it's just been as good a day as you could have ever hoped to have. Fantastic. So just for curiosity's sake here, my friends, I wanted to show you the inside of my tent. It's not the perfect pitch because it's only the second time I'd used it, so I know for the future to definitely pull the pegs a little bit tighter so that it gives a little bit more structure to the walls of the tent. But after a surprisingly chilly night, more on that soon, as you can see, waking up at about 5:30, the sun was just hiding below the horizon, but what an absolutely experience before 6 in the morning to be up in the absolute silence, enjoying the sunrise on a hilltop. Absolutely incredible. So by about 6:30 we were on our way walking down the hill, so we had plenty of time because we were up so early and all packed up and on the move. So we thought, well, why not stop off and have a quick nose at the old slate quarry here. And this was actually where we found the first human beings that we'd seen since about 2:30, 3 o'clock the previous afternoon. That's how peaceful and how quiet and how last person on earth sort of sensation we'd had up in the hilltops. And just a curiosity here, the shiny things in the centre of the screen there are actually beehives way up there in the hills. Fascinating stuff, I thought, at least. So, talking about that surprisingly chilly night. So as part of our determination to take as much water as we could to cover all eventualities for how much we might want to drink in the extreme heat conditions, we thought, well, it's not going to get that cold at night. I mean, look at the temperatures. So, being as clever as we thought we were, we decided not to take our sleeping bags. And if I just say that with a little bit of breeze and the chill of a hilltop, during the night, completely independently of each other, without realising the other one had done it, we both ended up emptying our backpacks and putting our feet and legs into them to help keep our little toes warm. So we weren't quite as clever as we thought with that, but the important thing was that we took all of the water that we could possibly want. Just another side note on there, being sensible, we also didn't take any ridiculous food that needed a lot of cooking or trying to make a fry up or anything up there, because obviously with everything being so tinder dry, you want to absolutely minimise or ideally not use a flame or anything that could possibly set the incredibly dry tinder of the ground alight. So yeah, just another sensible thing there. There's a lot of wildfires going on out there at the minute, so just be sensible, please. Although that's obviously we know sense is not a universal thing, it seems. Anyway, as we're looking at these incredible views down the valley that we were heading down, I'm going to simply wrap this video up and say I hope you've enjoyed this quick look at this absolutely wonderful little experience I've had recently, and I hope you'll tune in, subscribe and all the other things for more of this to come, maybe some of it based on a boat as well. Until the next time, my friends, have a fantastic day, keep it interesting, keep it tent worthy, keep it boat worthy, and of course, my friends, farewell.